the road.
Let's do that. The word of the day is shitty.
Yeah, apparently so.
Shitty
Like
is
that.
the word of the day.
People like that word.
As we start the Opie and Anthony show. You like the word shitty?
Yeah, I use it a lot. That's shitty.
What do you say? Timberwolf? Timberwolf's a shitty, was a shitty deal?
That's a shitty deal. It's a shitty deal. Says it right here in the memo, in your email. It's a shitty deal. Thank God.
Well, we're obviously talking about Senator Carl Levin. He's beating the shit out of the boys from Goldman and Sachs or Goldman Sachs?
Goldman Sachs.
Goldman Sachs. And he's reading a memo on TV yesterday. I think a lot of you saw it, saying Timberwolf was a shitty deal. I'm at the gym and I'm doing my thing and I'm hearing shitty coming through the TV. I'm like, is he saying another word? And it sounds like shitty because it always feels or sounds weird when you hear a curse coming from the TV
And from, like, politicians.
Politicians in general. Now, we got two schools of thought here. Like, me and Ant were discussing this before the show a little bit, and Jimmy's got another take on it. But I think both takes are kind of right. You know?
Yeah. But I was just saying, like, all right, this politician gets up there, and he's grilling Goldman Sachs about their some of their practices. Mm-hmm. Apparently, they would take these before the housing market went to shit and got shitty. They would bundle up these mortgages and sell them to their clients. And on the phone, I'm sure it was, hey, I got a great deal for you. This is fantastic.
Yeah, you got to get in on this.
You got to get in. So as they're doing that, within the company, they're shorting the shit out of these housing.
What does shorting mean? I've heard
which
it.
means you're betting that it's gonna flop.
You're betting that it's a shitty deal.
That it's shitty.
Right.
You're betting for
So
shitty.
you're telling your clients you got to get in on this, but within the company, you know it's going to be shit.
What does it mean to short it?
Shorting means like this. Let's say I want to buy or I want to short some stock in Jim Norton. I would go to Opie and go, hey, you want to buy some Jim Norton stock?
I sure do.
All right.
Yay.
I don't own any, but here I go. I'm going to sell you some for $10 a share.
I like that.
So I do that. I sell it to you. You give me money.
Well, give it to me.
Well,
what is it?
Hold
What
the
is it?
phone.
What do you mean
I'll
hold
get
the
it
phone?
to you. I'll get it
I
to you.
just bought some Jim Norton.
I
I'm
know,
confused
for $10
here.
a share.
All right, give me my certificate.
So now
give me
hold on.
something.
Let me wait a while. Oh, Jimmy Norton's stock is shitty.
Right.
Now it's only worth $5 a share. So you know what I'm going to do?
Right.
Now I'm going to buy it for $5 a share, and I go, here's your shares. Now I got $10 from you, but I'm replacing your $10 shares with $5 shares.
But you just ripped me off.
No, you got them for the price you wanted.
How long is that delay usually?
But
Yeah, I could.
That makes sense. Okay, that makes sense, though. So you give my stock to Ope.
Yeah.
Now, how long of a delay is there between the $10 and $5?
no, it doesn't make sense.
Hopefully, long enough for the stock to go shitty.
Wait, you're missing the point, Jimmy. The big point is
Well, it depends on
when
when you
he's
get
giving
called on
me Norton shares for $10, he officially doesn't have any shares yet.
That's what I'm saying. You don't have any of my
I really have the share, but I'm obligated to you,
Right.
To give you those shares,
Right.
at $10 a share.
Right.
You have to pay me $10, and I will give you the shares.
Right.
See, but so you won't be screwed. Like if you all of a sudden want to sell the shares, then I could get in trouble. I have to replace your shares,
Right.
Or you could just sell them without having them either.
So what, you delay?
Yeah, it's a delay, and then you get called on it.
Yeah, it's
after a certain amount of time.
What amount of time? Is
I'm
it
not
an
certain-
hour
I'm
or a
not
week?
certain. No, it's not
No,
an hour.
it
That's
could
for
be
sure.
it could be days.
That's for sure.
So what happens if you bet wrong? Like, what if you bet? Now, obviously, Jim Norton's stock goes up.
It goes up.
What
Now,
So what if you sell Jim Norton stock to Ope for $10?
$10, and then it goes up to $20.
Yes.
Now I am obligated to give him his stock at $20, and I fucking lose.
Okay, they
See,
do that
that's
sometimes
why
too, right?
Short selling is like
It's another game.
It's another gamble.
Yeah.
It can happen, but these guys knew that the housing market was shit.
Okay.
They knew it was a shitty deal, as they said. So knowing that if you short it, you're going to make some money. And they were also selling it to their clients as a good deal. So it kind of hedged their bet both ways.
Very complicated stuff,
scumbags.
but they knew what they were doing as far as this goes, and they had a memo basically saying Timberwolf is a shitty deal.
Shitty deal.
So the Senator Carl Levin was just reading the memo over and over again on TV.
And apparently they were patting each other on the back when the housing market took a shit.
Right.
Like, yeah, we got it. Good deal. We shorted the fuck out of that one.
Now, I tweeted the audio yesterday. Then some asshole is like, look, the FCC doesn't control cable, so he's allowed to say shitty. I go, I know that's stupid. I know that.
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of things happening here. First of all, what's the difference between cable TV and regular TV at this point?
In this day and age.
If 90% of the country has cable,
Yeah.
what really is the difference?
That it's going over the air, which, by the way, it's not anymore.
Look,
I don't know anyone who has rabbit ears on their fucking TV.
I would say the same thing for satellite radio. It's stupid, the rules. It really is. You could turn on a TV and you could go to a channel and hear a senator say shitty over and over again. But if they do that on, like, over-the-air TV, is that what it's called?
Which doesn't really go over the air. Yeah.
Right. It doesn't really go over the air anymore, except for, 10 people in America that still have rabbit ears?
Exactly. How to get their digital converter.
Right. But if they, like, let's say your local NBC station, but if they say shitty over and over again, or play the audio of this guy actually saying shitty a million times, now they're in trouble with the FCC.
Right.
That doesn't make sense.
It makes no sense.
Maybe
It's
it made
stupid.
sense at first when cable was first starting, but now it is what it is, and we all have the same way of getting our channels.
And you get this guy, a lawmaker, guy that's out there.
A curmudgeon,
Yeah. And using the word shitty.
an old white guy.
Yeah. He's saying shitty. He's using it. He's using it in context. He's reading a memo or an email or what have you. And it's like, why is he saying it if it's so bad that it can't go over broadcast television? Now, I understand he can say it on cable, but can't say it on broadcast. But why is he saying it at all?
If he knows it's really
he
bad.
And his cohorts are deeming it so horrid and so awful for the children to hear.
Guys just like him would get radio guys fired for saying shitty on regular radio.
Exactly, but it's a word people use.
And he was very comfortable saying that. So
He certainly
he
was.
knows how ridiculous it is.
Oh, was he comfy saying it?
How ridiculous that whole thing is to fire a DJ because he's cursing on his radio show.
It's shitty, I say.
Shitty.
Shitty.
This is what I love, though. I love that this guy did this.
I love absolutely.
Because it was honest, and it was it really, as a Goldman Sachs executive, to have a senator up there in front of the world reading that memo and emphasizing that memo and assaulting you, to have a U.S. senator saying shitty to you into a microphone is humiliating. These guys, I love the description.
Humiliating, Senator. Demand an apology.
Goldman Sachs employees deserve a noose. Between the vultures, Kay, these fucking scumbags ripping off their clients.
Yep.
Boy, I love that they said before they were under blistering cross-examination.
Yeah.
You never want to be
Blistering.
You don't wanna
under
be in that
blistering cross-examination.
You don't want to be in that seat where the table's just a little too high with the microphone in your face as you have to look up toward these guys as they're asking their
No.
questions. You don't want to be in that spot.
No, because they are really prepared, and there's a lot of them, and they have nothing to lose if they make a
It's
quick mistake.
basically 10 brains against one brain, because if one of those guys up there forgets a question, oh boy, his cohort will have it, right?
Yep. It's all legit, though. I mean, to tell you the truth, the shorting,
Oh, I know.
it's a legit thing. But it kind of gets into a weird area when you're selling something to your clients and really talking it up.
Well, your clients.
But then you're saying it's shitty to your coworkers and you're shorting it. Then there's a bit of a conflict, I think, there.
Sure.
That could be a potential problem. I like.
Oh wait, Brian in Rochester.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, you explained it very well, but this guy could explain it in a different way. Go ahead, Brian.
Last night on Joy Behar's show, I was looking for Jimmy Norton, but Ben Stein was on there, and he said it was like he said it was like your mechanic cutting your brakes and then selling you the car, but before he sold you the car, he put a life insurance policy out on you.
Great way to put it.
Pretty good. That's a good one. All right, here, no brakes. I'm taking a life insurance policy on you. Drive the car.
So, and to really bring it to the basics, Goldman Sachs knew they were fucking their own clients.
Well, they were. If they were positive that this was a shitty deal.
Well, the memo says it was a shitty deal.
A shitty deal, and
How many
they
times
were
are we
then
gonna say it?
telling their clients it was a good deal just to get their money in, and then shorting it. That's pretty fucking. That's a conflict there. But shorting is part of the market. I mean, people do it. I've done it plenty of times. I've bought puts on stock options, which isn't even owning any stock. It's the option to buy. I've short sold stock options. So it's part of the market. There's a way you can make money off of it. It's kind of fun,
Right.
and it's part of the deal. But when you're a brokerage firm like that, and you're playing both sides of the fence against your the best interest of your clients, that's a little fucked up.
Well, let's play the audio. So it's Senator Carl Levin saying shitty a bunch of times on C-SPAN.
Shitty, the shitty wall.
I never thought I would be entertained by C-SPAN before, but I was yesterday.
Shitty walk.
Look what your sales team was saying about Timberwolf. Boy, that Timberwolf was one shitty deal. They sold that
Mr.
shitty
Chairman,
deal.
this email was from the head of the division, not the sales force.
Whatever it was, it's an internal Goldman document.
This was an email to me in late June.
Right. And you
after
sold
the
Timberwolf.
transaction.
No. You sold Timberwolf after as well.
We did trades after that.
Yeah, okay. It's
And
the trades after.
Some context might be helpful.
The context, let me tell you, the context is mighty clear. June 22 is the date of this email. Boy, that Timberwolf was one shitty deal. How much of that shitty deal did you sell to your clients after June 22, 2007?
Mr. Chairman, I don't know the answer to that, but the price would have reflected levels that they wanted to invest.
Oh, of course.
at that time.
But they don't know what it says. You didn't tell them you thought it was a shitty deal.
Well, I didn't say that.
No. Who did? Your people, internally. You knew it was a shitty deal, and that's what your email shows.
You could not say it more.
You didn't tell him it was a shitty deal?
Well, what's he supposed to do?
Right.
How you doing, Jonathan? Yeah. Look, I got a real shitty deal for you here. You're going to want to dump all your money into this shitty deal. No, it's shitty. It's real shitty.
Am I going to make money on it?
No, it's shitty. It's a shitty deal. That's what I'm saying, but just send your check.
All right, it's $50 a share. How much is it worth?
It's probably worth nothing after it goes belly up.
Give me $20,000.
All right, I'll put you down $20,000 for a shitty deal.
He calls him out on it, though.
Shitty.
He raises his voice. He's like, you didn't tell him that it was a shitty deal?
Shitty.
And the other worm is trying to fucking explain his way out of it. Mr. Chairman. Whenever you're saying Mr. Chairman, you are scrambling for your life.
You should have brought the chairman's brother in from Sicily, sat him down with his dumb hat.
You think his ass was sweating at that point?
Dude.
You think he just had, like, swampy ass as he's sitting there?
These guys are used to being, these guys
Just
on Wall
sweat
Street,
dripping down his ass crack? Like, oh, fuck.
these guys are the bosses. You understand? Nobody fucks with these guys.
Yep.
And when they are sitting there squirming in front of TV cameras, they don't want to be on television squirming.
Talking about their memos that say shitty deals
It's
in there.
humiliating.
Oh, God, you've got to hate that.
Wait, it continued, though. I mean, that's just part of this whole thing.
Fucking shitty.
Senator Carl Levin continues.
I think the context, the message that I took from the email from Mr. Montag was that my performance on that deal wasn't good. And I think the fact that we had lost money related to that wasn't good.
How about the fact that you sold hundreds of millions of that deal after your people knew it was a shitty deal? Does that bother you at all? You sold to customers something?
I don't recall selling hundreds of millions of that deal after that.
All right, let's take a look. Exhibit 166, series of
You never want them to hear that you got some kind of exhibit.
No.
Exhibit 166 is never going to help you.
You don't think that's good?
Never.
Never good?
The senator's not going to go, oh, you're correct. Exhibit 166 proves that you're correct.
Exhibit 166. Oh,
That's going to fuck you good. Oof.
it's not a hot 22-year-old.
No.
Exhibit 166 is never a hot 22-year-old.
It's shitty.
It's a shitty deal.
When they start going through your computer and your internal emails, oh, you are cooked.
Oh, boy.
Boy, are you in deep shit. Wow. Hot seat. Hot seat.
Exhibit 166, series of emails. First is June 26, 07. That's after June.
You know, I got to stop, man, because a lot of people, these fucking assholes that are our fans, they're saying Citadel, Citadel, Citadel. Do you think we were in on a shitty deal? Do you think that me and you were part of a shitty deal with another company?
Was a shitty deal.
But when they sold us over $100,000 worth of stock
I didn't
each,
think it was shitty.
I didn't think.
I thought it was a good deal.
You think that fucking Fareed had some kind of internal memo going on?
We got
Going, oh, shit, do we have a shitty deal here? Get your
Yeah.
clients on the phone. And we were the clients.
We were the guys getting in on the IPO. We got in on the ground floor
sure
of a
did.
shitty deal.
We sure did. We
Fareed.
sure did.
No, it is not a shitty deal. Well, let's look at my stock certificate, Fareed, shall we? Oh, humna. See, this was worth $100,000. It's now worth $0. Would you say that's a shitty deal, Fareed?
What did we figure it out? It was worth like $100 or something?
If that. I think they went bankrupt, so now it's worth $0.
It's basically worth $0.
It's nothingness.
Yeah, we got wiped out. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Terrible.
The amazing thing in this country is that all this thievery or whatever it is going on, and all the papers can talk about is how the senator said shitty.
Exactly. They're not looking into the meat and potatoes of this whole situation and why they're having this hearing and why Goldman Sachs is up there. It's the shitty part.
It's all about...
That just goes to shit. You know, that didn't even hit me. You're absolutely right. That's embarrassing as a country.
Yeah, we're the hip, progressive Americans who are free to tell everybody else how to live their lives. And this is, somebody says the word shit, and it's front page news.
Front page is the shit part, not the actual why they were called in front of it. If you know all the facts as to why Goldman Sachs is sitting there in front of Congress, that's one thing. And then you could get into the shitty part and see how funny it is. But like your average layman is just reading that going, oh, he said shit?
Yeah.
And has no idea why, who, where, when. It doesn't matter.
The fact we consider that shocking is embarrassing as a country.
It is.
Well, the front page here, sacks
it
of
is.
shit, foul mouth,
That's funny,
Senate curses out Goldman. They didn't curse out Goldman. They were referring to a memo. I mean, yeah, they made it hurt a little bit, but you know, they weren't sitting up there going, "You are shit, sir." That's cursing them out, right? Let's get back to Exhibit 166. Oh, boy.
Yeah. 166, series of emails. First is June 26, 07. That's after June 22. July 1, 2007, tells the sales force the top priority is Timberwolf. Your top priority to sell is that shitty deal.
Mr.
Got it?
My comment was I didn't recall the sales.
You got it?
That we were
160.
trying to sell.
Okay, you're trying to sell a shitty deal, and it's your top priority. Come on, Mr. Sparks.
Well, Mr.
Should
Chairman-
Goldman Sachs be trying to sell, and by the way, it sold it, a lot of it, after that date. Should Goldman Sachs be trying to sell a shitty deal?
Well,
Can you answer
Again, I
that
didn't
one?
use those
Can you
words,
answer that one, yes or no?
there are prices in the market that people want to invest in things. I didn't use that term with respect to this deal.
Guy's hanging in there, even though he's sweating his balls
He's a
off.
fucking sidestepping twat. Can you answer that one, yes or no? And he couldn't.
Shitty.
Blue Healer is picking up on the fact that it sounds like someone's playing asteroids in the background. You hear
Yeah, I
the
know
thrust
that.
sound?
Oh, it is.
It's
the
the thrust sound.
asteroid thrust sound.
Remember the thrust sound?
Of course, Jimmy remembers that.
I do.
He got high score as a young little tussleable, abusable lad.
In the Brunswick Arcade,
Yes.
Mayor Charles Nicola, ex-mayor of North Brunswick, kept the arcade open. I remember the article. It said, well, the kid can play as long as he wants.
Ah, the kid. Then
my
he
little
touched
hat.
your little scrotum that hadn't fallen yet.
No, it had fallen already.
Oh, how
Sure
cute.
had. My glasses, getting lots of points.
Aw.
Lots of points. You hear that in the background of the thrust. And
funny.
finally, the last part of the clip here, Senator Carl Levin.
Well, who did use that term? Who's Tom Montag? Who's Daniel Sparks?
That's me.
And who's Tom? I know it is. Who's Tom Montag?
Tom Montag was the head of the division at the time.
And he was telling you.
Is there anything better when you're being interrogated? Because me and Ed have been interrogated, and Jimmy has. When they ask you that easy question, you kind of get a little excited, like, "Oh, I can answer that one."
I got
nicely.
that one.
Yeah.
That's me.
Oh, I am. That's me, sir.
That's me.
Like you're helping. You're here to help, Senator. You're here to help out.
It's like facing a really tough pitcher, and you know that one's way outside, so you're like, "Okay, all right, I don't have to worry about that pitch."
Tom Montag was the head of the division at the time.
And he was telling you on June 22, boy, that Timberwolf was one shitty deal. And then you got Exhibit 166, series of emails pushing the Goldman sales force to sell Timberwolf securities. First is June 26, 2007 email. The next email, take a look, July 107, tells the sales force the top priority is Timberwolf. The next email is July 24, 2007. Timberwolf is again listed as one of the top priorities, still after the shitty deal assessment, and one in which one of GS sales team leaders, Matthew Biber, writes that with regard to Timberwolf, I'm all over these guys. So, if you can't give a clear answer to that one, Mr. Sparks, I don't think we're going to get too many clear answers from you, but I've taken much more than my time, and we're going to come back to you and to the others on my second round.
Second round? That's only the first round?
First round, the guy goes back to the corner, bloodied eye. Cut me, Mick.
The card girls come out
He's
with their
sweating.
hot little bikinis.
They're icing down his chest.
Right.
He's just
Oh, my
fucked.
God.
His mouthpiece flew out of his mouth.
Dude, fucking Damian Maya wasn't as bashed by Silva after round. He was happier to go back and fight him for round two.
No kidding.
After round two.
And this guy, I wish I could give him credit. No, wait, I'm telling you, it's a real shitty deal.
No, it's a shitty deal. We're not a bank, Jerry.
Right.
Why don't you go see Bill Deal over at Goldman Sachs? He'll give you a shitty deal. So what you're saying is, what are you saying?
Right.
It's a shitty deal.
Chris Long Island has a very good point about this, too. Chris, go ahead.
Hey, guys, just want to point out, they're talking about Exhibit 166. That means there's 165 other exhibits.
Right. You hear that, Jimmy?
Yeah. What?
Because that's Exhibit 166. There's another 165 they're going to get to.
And you know that ain't the last. He's absolutely right.
Oh, no.
You want to hear Exhibit 2 of 3?
Right. Right.
But this to me is what is
Oh,
why
fuck,
I
that's
don't know
good.
enough about Wall Street. This guy's that may be able to argue that this guy was wrong with gold. I don't know, but this is like, what do you think of one of the questions to this to the chairman Blankenfein? I'm sorry. Later in the day, Levin grilled Goldman CEO Lloyd Blankfein about the emails. What do you think of selling securities to your own people thought were crap, he asked. Blankfein responded, I think there's a lot of options about the way a security will perform.
All right, there you go.
Like, do you understand these cunts? This is the way they think.
When your broker calls you and says, hey, you want to jump on this deal, you trust, or used to anyway, that he is using his knowledge and his research and getting you a good deal because he's your broker. This proves that, no, they were doing what was in the best interest for themselves by selling you the shitty deal and then shorting it because they know it's a shitty deal and it's not going to perform. So what that guy's saying is bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Jimmy.
This guy, he said customers buying securities from the Wall Street investment house came looking for risk, and that's what they got. That's the thinking of these vultures.
I back when we were at NEW, just started to make some money, and wasn't there some kind of merger going on and we had
that was.
We had a little company.
Zappos went to something else.
We had a little company stock, no big deal, and we all were assigned a broker to kind of help us with the paperwork because I forget it was either being transferred or something that you really needed a broker to kind of walk you through, especially newbies like us, right? Mm-hmm. And then this guy was now technically sort of my broker, and he gave me a shitty deal on a stock.
Shitty deal?
And I didn't know any better at the time, and I'm thinking, well, if he's a stockbroker, he's absolutely going to be looking out for my best interest. It was the cancer drug to cure breast cancer.
Oh yeah,
It was a cancer drug from this company.
He might have shorted you.
I'm not even going to mention the company, and I got in at I got in at $4 and then again at $11 because he got me twice even. He got me twice. He goes, oh, man, I'm telling you, they're doing research now. All this research is coming out in the spring. You're going to want to be in on this.
That was a pump and dump.
Sure.
What that was.
I didn't know at the time.
Yeah.
I
just
made
money off of that, buying and selling it probably 10 times over during the tech bubble.
Well, you certainly knew a hell of a lot more than me.
I was going back and forth.
Yeah, so I thought because you have, a broker that he's looking out for you.
Yeah.
This guy was using me to make money somewhere else because now this stock was I don't even know if it's listed anymore. It's under $1. It's a penny stock.
Yeah.
And at the time, it was a lot of money I pumped into this thing, thousands and thousands of dollars, because I trusted the guy because I'm like, he's my broker. He wouldn't do me wrong.
He gave you a shitty deal.
He gave me a shitty deal.
Well, it's a shitty deal. Now all we need to know is what's your finder's fee. Finder's fee?
I'm out of Connecticut. It's great that the senator is showing some real emotion and actually sounding like a person.
Yep.
All those guys, when they're grilling somebody down there in Washington,
they start yelling at you.
Oh yeah, man.
You are just fucking yelled at
Actually,
if you're sitting in front of Congress like that.
JJ from New Hampshire has a good observation about that. Go ahead, Jimmy James.
Morning, boys. Hey, this business exec here from Saks hasn't been yelled at like this since he threw a cherry bomb in the high school toilet.
Yeah.
Oh, I had no idea about it. Well, let me check the bag we have from your locker.
God damn.
Yeah, it's the
you're
same
absolutely
type of thing.
right.
You're sitting in front of the principal.
This guy's used to just being down there at Wall Street and then afterwards going out, hitting the bar with a few of his buddies, talking about their deals, and then that's it, going home.
Maybe a baby feeder bar.
Yeah, there you go.
After some martinis.
Exactly. And then now he's just sitting there going, why am I being yelled at?
Right.
I was just doing my job.
This
it's like the Nuremberg trials.
Aside from the verbal bashing, Wall Streeters complained about the fact that those on the hot seat weren't even given a lunch break during the grueling 5-hour session.
All right. That's uncalled for.
Harumph.
Could have gotten him a shitty sandwich, a shitty bowl of soup or something.
Is anybody, maybe there's brokers that listen, is there another side to it that I'm just reacting like, it's cool to hear these guys yelled at, but what's their defense? I don't know enough about the market. What is their defense?
Their defense is these people bought these stocks, should have done their due diligence and researched it.
But that's why you hire a broker.
Of course.
You don't know.
Well, you do hire a broker, but there is a certain amount of involvement you need to do when you're buying stocks. If a broker approaches you with a stock, the thing you're supposed to do is do your own research on it.
Right.
And then get back to your broker. It's not a done deal where you just trust that this guy is giving you advice and you have to move now. If a broker's telling you got to move now, it's a red flag.
Well, now I know that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that don't know
Exactly.
that.
It's called due diligence.
So wait.
You must do your DD.
But there is no, they're not defending the fact that they were just selling shit. They can't really defend that. They can't say, we didn't know. They can't defend the fact, yes, I was selling something that I almost certainly knew he was going to lose money on. They can't really.
I guess the almost part is where it comes in, because any sector or stock, individual stock or what have you, can go up or down. Even these guys at Goldman, they don't have a crystal ball on Wall Street. So their argument is, look, there are a lot of things that can happen with these stocks. And if somebody wants to buy them, who are we to say don't do it?
That's like fucking a girl who is passed out. But the one argument you're holding on to is that, well, she moved her head a little, so I was assuming that she was having an orgasm.
Exactly.
You're lying, and everybody knows you're lying.
Look, I'm not saying this is what I'm saying is their argument. Yeah. I'm not saying this is
no,
right.
but I'm saying
that's their argument. Right. Is look, we sell equities to these people, and it's their decision to buy them, regardless of what they think. They could offer opinions on stocks, and they were offering erroneous opinions. Obviously, they were shitty stuff.
They were lying because they knew it was
exactly.
But this wasn't mom and pop stuff either, right? Weren't they dealing with big companies?
Yeah, definitely.
This was some.
What they were doing was taking mortgages, a fuckload of mortgages,
bundling them
together,
right,
and then selling them.
As under one umbrella.
Yeah, under one umbrella, knowing that a lot of these mortgages that are in these bundles are in foreclosure.
Sure.
And, it was a shitty deal.
Unbelievable. I missed the obvious. Someone said that my deal was not a shitty deal, Anthony. It was it was a titty deal.
Oh.
See, because it was a cancer drug for breast cancer. Booger Couch, thank you for that. Let me say hi to Pat in Staten Island. Pat.
Yeah, good morning, boys.
Hey, brother.
Yeah, I just want everybody in the Pittsburgh area to know there's a shitty show going on and featuring Jim Norton this weekend.
Oh,
shitty. There will be a shitty show in Pittsburgh at the Shitty Improv, and you can buy shitty merch after. Oh, by the way, I'll be on Shitty Joy Behar tonight. It was not last night, it's tonight.
Tonight?
For anyone mistaken thinking I would be on the shitty show, my shitty performance is tonight.
Oh, all right.
I just want to hear the word shitty.
And Joy Behar.
Mike in New Mexico. Mikey.
Oh, man, I'm a huge fan of you guys. Man, guys, I love you so much, man. You guys make my day. Listen, I think the senator did a great job yesterday, but who the fuck is going to question those senators and congressmen that do a shitty deal on us on a daily basis?
Yeah,
That's true.
I like
I like this Mike guy.
This guy found a nook and cranny in our conversation.
First time calling our show, and he comes out with a doozy.
A nook and cranny.
I like it, Mike.
Hey, one more thing. Hey, Jim, are you there?
I'm right here.
Hey, Jim, let me tell you something. I came back from overseas in Iraq and everything. There's days I could take a bullet. But I swear to God, you make my life. Yeah, you make me laugh every day. I love you, man. You're a great comedian. You're the best. Guys, I love you.
Thanks, man.
All right, Mike.
Thanks a lot, buddy.
Keep listening, brother.
Appreciate it.
Good phone call, too, man.
He's right.
He's
you
right.
You get these congressmen up there on their high horse.
Right.
And who's questioning them when they are working shitty deals? Adding shitty deals to bills that have nothing to do with the actual bill, pork barrel crap that they're getting for their own states on our dime.
There's a lot of shitty things they're doing.
Both fucking people in both seats are staring at each other, and they're all based on shitty deals.
However, those guys get fucked once in a while too. There's a lot when they start getting their computers hauled out. And they misappropriate. For them, it's misappropriation.
Not as much as it should be happening.
That's true.
Are you kidding? Every time you enter the market, it's basically legalized gambling. There's risk involved. Yeah,
yeah, that's true.
Anthony kind of explained that whole
risk
thing.
Risk is one thing, and I'm not saying that you're guaranteed to win. I lost money. Everybody lost money. But when the people that you're trusting, and they know they have your trust, are purposefully deceiving you and purposely trying to sell that stock because they said it lost 80% of its value in 5 months. And they know it's about to tank, so they're trying to fuck you for an extra few dollars before it tanks. Then you know what? They deserve what they get.
It's like as if, and he's saying like a casino or something, it's as if you walk up to a blackjack table and the dealer goes, "Psst, buddy, you have even odds at this game." And you go, even odds? Really? It's 1-to-1? You mean like a coin toss? You go, yep, sit down. And then you realize, no, the odds are in the house's favor.
Every time.
So that's kind of the casino analogy that doesn't quite work because that would be a shitty deal. Quite literally, you'd be dealt shit, which is what happens to me. And then I yell and spit on the floor. Blackjack.
Rob in Jersey.
Pillow biting.
Robbie, what's up, buddy?
Hey, fellas, how you doing?
All right.
Spit on the floor.
I don't know. It's just kind of frustrating me. Goldman Sachs has literally made trillions of dollars for their customer. They're a very successful investment bank. Mm-hmm. Warren Buffett, the most savvy and successful investor in the history of the world, only trusts Goldman Sachs investment banker with his money. And because one schlub says one deal is shitty, I mean, obviously there's 166 pieces of evidence, but now Goldman Sachs are the biggest pieces of shit, and everyone hates them, and they're screwing everybody out of money.
Good point taken here too.
Okay,
he's using the one bad apple defense. Obviously, somebody like Warren Buffett is using Goldman Sachs. That's a guy that does do his due diligence. He knows the market. Believe me, he's very successful. But what of Jimmy Buffett? Now, who does he invest with?
That's right, or Warren Oates from
Because that's
Stripes.
a shitty concert.
Well, let me ask you a question, though. You're right, if this is the one thing, but isn't this just the one they got? Like, this one is too obvious to deny. Is there, like, I don't know, man, just because they only caught them on one, to me, this one is so egregious. It's so obvious they knew. How could you trust anybody that you know is going to fuck you on? It's like they know the housing market's about to collapse, and they're just making some fast money and fucking their. It's just, I don't know. Don't you find that sickening?
Yeah, but if some of their investment bankers think the housing market's going to collapse, some of them think it's going to go well. Like, I mean, as an investment house, they're going to hedge their bets. They're going to make investments in both directions. This happens every day. In you know, like think about it, Anthony. Like you said, you've short sold stocks. You've long bought stocks. I mean, and as an investment house, I mean, they would be remiss not to kind of play both sides. It's not necessarily criminal just because they're playing both sides of an investment.
That's true. But as a private a citizen here that doesn't work in the market, I like being a little diversified in, not in my day trading, just playing around shit, but in like my retirement plans. I'm very conservative. I like playing both sides. I like having some hedge funds and things like that. But I am not being entrusted by somebody else to come up with the right thing to do and giving advice to people based on under the Goldman Sachs umbrella of we are professionals. So that's a little different. Of course I'm going to play both sides,
Yeah, no, absolutely. And if you were, and if you're, instead of your however much money you invest, it's billions or trillions of dollars that are at risk, you're gonna be even more, sensitive to it, and you're gonna hedge even further. I think.
Yeah, but there's a certain trust that I don't have to adhere to. There's a trust that they have that they kind of, or at least one guy. Who the fuck knows? This could be one rogue nut in Goldman Sachs with this shitty email. But I guess they should have weeded him out. But there's a trust factor there that I don't have to adhere to because I'm just a guy trying to make a few bucks. So, I'm not out in the street when I retire.
All right, sir. We got to give a few more people a chance here. We got a broker on the line from Boston. Bill in Boston, what's up, buddy? What's your take on this whole thing?
Hey, guys. I think it's a little comical. I mean, I know it's tough for these guys because it's not a very popular side to be on. You listen to these senators, they really have no idea what they're talking about for the most part, and they're just getting fed information from their helpers or whatever. So these guys from Goldman are trying to explain themselves without being, without blowing up on these guys, because it's hard to have them talk about issues that they really have not informed well about. Okay. The guys from Goldman trying to explain themselves without losing it, to be quite honest.
What is the explanation on something that obvious?
I mean, are you saying obvious in that they were selling something that they, quote unquote, was a shitty deal? I mean,
meaning
it's one guy's opinion.
I think there's something, but I think that they all kind of agreed on it. And there's something called good faith in negotiations and behavior. And if they had said in that email, this one's iffy, could go either way. To me is a good faith bet. And they really are saying, you know what, it could go either way. But when they are, to me, knowingly selling something that, as informed guys, they know is shit.
Yeah,
and for hundreds of millions of dollars, that's kind of dirty, right?
There's a fiduciary responsibility without a doubt, but they're not selling it to little old ladies in the Midwest. They're selling it to professional investors. So the people on the other end of the phone are supposed to be smart enough and understand the risks inherent in what they're buying.
Yeah, they got their own researchers that are supposed to really kind of figure all this shit out.
You're right, but
these guys are pros, and when they offered this deal in the beginning, I'm telling you that after the quote-unquote shitty deal comment that came out, and that's one guy, by the way, there might be others in the system that thought that, but maybe not all of them did. And when they're selling this, they're probably selling it at a steep discount to where it first came. Because they got to get it off their books, and there's people that are willing to take risks up and down the ladder to say, all right, well, not at this price where it first came out, but I'm willing to say at this lower price, I'll buy it and give it a shot. I mean, you got to understand at the time the appetite for these deals was insatiable.
That's true. And that's true too.
People couldn't get enough of it.
Hindsight is very convenient in these situations because during the tech bubble, right before it burst, you could not stop people from buying any .com stock. It was just fucking ridiculous. Everyone was in the market. Everyone was just, they were yelling at their brokers to get them in on fucking stocks that had no assets whatsoever, just had a name for a week, and they lost money on it, and then they turn around and go, whoa, motherfucker. The housing, if you remember, the housing market before it burst was giant. You couldn't stop the fucking rate that the housing market was climbing every day.
What do you mean, remember? We bought at the high.
Exactly. Yes, we certainly
we
did.
We just suck all around.
I know.
We finally decided to buy houses, whatever, and we buy right at the top.
Carlin,
less than a year later, the whole fucking market crashed.
But he makes a good point. You know, people get greedy, and it isn't Goldman Sachs' job to stop people from buying something that they are calling about and want to get into.
Don't hang up on him. Are you still there, sir?
Yeah, I mean.
Okay. It reminds me of Carlin's rant when he's talking about the piece of shit businessman. It's a really funny one from You Are All Disease. He's like, they don't even trust each other. When they sit down and negotiate, they talk about how they're going to fuck who's going to fuck each other for. And, like, that's to me what this is. It's like, you know that you're selling garbage, and your whole thing is, hey, his responsibility is to know it's garbage more than I know it's garbage. And even if that's legally justifiable, it's still sickening. And it's still thievery on some level.
I hear you, Jimmy, but you know what? They bought a lot of garbage, too, and I think that wasn't being the guys from Goldman were trying to get their point across that their net position wasn't – they didn't just sell everything to everybody and not buy anything. They bought
exactly.
a lot.
Right.
And you sell short to hedge your long position. So they came out net short a little bit, but they didn't make a ton of money. I mean, granted, it seems like a ton of money in the grand scheme of things, but they didn't make a ton of money. And the guys that were buying stuff from them, you can bet your ass they were selling them shit, too. They were selling Goldman shit right back. And they were buying it, too, because they had an appetite for that shit.
The head of the I'm sorry, but can I interrupt you? Because you can answer with this question. The head of the SEC was the deciding vote in actually charging them. She obviously knows a lot more than I do. What was it, do you think, that caused her to say, yes, they should be charged with fraud?
Again, I don't. This is the CDOs are very.
What does CDO mean?
It's a collateralized debt obligation. So it's they basically what Anthony said. It's an easy way to describe it is that they just put together. They bundle all these mortgages and other investment vehicles together and create this one product. And you know, I don't know all the details into that particular. I mean, again, I trade just cash equities, so just straight stocks. So it's a little different game that I'm involved, but it's all based on the same premise. So you know, maybe there's some inner workings in this deal that clearly were fraudulent, and I guess that'll come out later. But I'm just speaking to the general theme of the market and how it works. And you know, it would kind of be like if you guys were up against management or your lawyers, let's say, and you were trying to explain a bit, and you know, you had no leg to stand on because they didn't understand kind of where you guys are coming from and what was making your show successful.
Are you in on our meetings?
However,
I think you guys understand what I'm saying. I mean, it's like the general public doesn't really understand. Like Opie always says, you know, you've been in radio a long time, and people just don't understand it, and it's hard to sit there and watch this. And even though I don't necessarily agree with all the things that they do, I mean, they're a direct competitor of mine, but I would say that it's hard to listen to everybody kind of just attack these guys without really knowing exactly what the whole plane.
Sure, it's way more complicated than what we're reading in the papers today. Obviously, you know, but the papers and the TV tend to make it very basic and go, look at the senator saying shitty, and these guys are evil, and the senator's saying shitty, and that's all we really know because none of us go deeper into this thing.
Would the equivalent be, though, sir, of the meetings analogy you gave? Like, say we had that the management was trying to explain a bit, but let's say management had an email from us, and we were still on terrestrial radio, where I sent an email to Open Ant and go, look, this bit we know is definitely an FCC violation, but let's do it. And then they found that email, and then I'm trying to explain how I didn't know it was an FCC violation, or I did know, you know, that's kind of the equivalent of that.
Oh yeah, you're fucked.
Yeah, I mean, I get your point. I think I'm going back to more of a. Like I said, this is a particular instance that there's some impropriety, but I'm just saying in general, trying to explain it to the layman, it gets frustrating when you wish that there was more information out there. And it's not easy. It's not going to get overnight, obviously.
Sure.
It takes years. It takes years to understand. But it's just taking a look at it from the other side. That's all. And believe me, we sat there all day yesterday and watched the proceedings, and all we did was laugh at the shitty part.
Oh, it was great.
Wasn't just that old guy. It was some lady who was saying it. And
the lady said it too?
Oh, they couldn't get enough of saying shitty.
Sir, could I ask you something quickly? Sell-off continue today. What happened yesterday, and what looks good?
Very good. Dow was down, 200 points yesterday?
Yeah, it was a little
Yeah,
shaky.
I would think that we're due for a little bit more of a correction. The market's had a pretty decent move. We're in the middle of its earnings season, so all the companies are coming out with their earnings. So it gets a bit stagnant. You don't have, most moves are made prior to earnings and then thereafter earnings. So this is kind of a time of assessing how companies did in the last quarter, and then making your bets, after the fact. Because most bets, you're not going to make your bet during the quarter. If you get surprised at the quarter, and you're already late to the game. So I'd say you're going to see a lot of sideward movement, and there's a lot of things going on in Greece and Portugal, and all their debts being being downgraded by S&P and Moody's. So there's a lot of outside factors that are affecting the marketplace that aren't locally.
And what do you like?
It's hard not to like energy. I mean, the energy names, they've had a decent move, but so has everything else. And I think that some of those consumer names have had a decent move. So if you're gonna play the shorts, Anthony, maybe lay out some shorts or take some money off the table in consumers.
I mean, energy too. Good call for my guys.
All right,
thank you.
All right, boys. I got
Thanks,
to pull
Bill.
in the garage.
Thank you.
Goodbye, Dollface. If I may.
He even uses the term before you make your bet. I mean,
Yeah.
it's legalized gambling.
Exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's
All
just
right. We could continue with this a little later on the show.
It's amazing how little you realize you know, though.
What?
Like when you look at this stuff, it's like this world.
Yeah.
I know so little about it. It's like, can you comprehend editing the Wall Street Journal?
No. That's a very good point.
Someone's doing it.
Coleco? What do you, overseas? Greek? I don't know. The Japanese boy? Who the fuck knows? That's what I would say in these meetings. I don't fucking know.
That's why the world needs Unix. Because if you're fucking making sperm all day long, you don't have time to figure out how to edit the Wall Street Journal.
Out of sight, out of mind.
You got to get rid of the poison constantly. Yep. It's for the nerds that don't fucking make sperm. All right, we can continue with this after the break.
All right, well, that sucked. To hear the Opie and Anthony Show 5 days a week live on satellite radio, online on your phone or tablet, or even on demand, go to SiriusXM.com. Also, interact with the Opie and Anthony Show on Twitter, at Opie Radio, at Anthony Cumia, and at Jim Norton.
So kind of right.
Yeah, but I was just saying, like, all right, this politician gets up there and he's grilling Goldman Sachs about some of their practices. Mm-hmm. Apparently, they would take these before the housing market went to shit and got shitty, they would bundle up these mortgages and sell them to their clients. And on the phone, I'm sure it was, hey, I got a great deal for you. This is fantastic.
Yeah, you got to get in on this.
You got to get in. So as they're doing that, within the company, they're shorting the shit out of these housing.
What does shorting mean? I've heard it.
Which means you're betting that it's gonna flop.
You're betting that it's a shitty deal.
That it's shitty. Right. You're betting for shitty.
So you're telling your clients you got to get in on this, but within the company, you know it's going to be shit.
What does it mean to short it?
Shorting means like this. Let's say I want to buy or I want to short some stock in Jim Norton. I would go to Opie and go, hey, you want to buy some Jim Norton stock?
I sure do.
All right.
Yay.
I don't own any, but here I go. I'm going to sell you some for $10 a share.
I like that.
So I do that. I sell it to you. You give me money.
Well, delay.
Yeah, it's a delay, and then you get called on it.
Yeah, it's
after a certain amount of time.
What amount of time? Is
I'm
it
not
an
certain,
hour
I'm
or
not
a week?
Certain. No, it's not an hour.
It could be days.
That's for sure.
So what happens if you bet wrong? Like, what if you bet? Now, obviously, Jim Norton stock goes up.
It goes up.
What now? So what if you? What if you sell Jim Norton stock to Oprah for $10?
$10, and then it goes up to $20.
Yes.
Now I am obligated to give him his stock at $20, and I fucking lose.
Okay, they do that sometimes too, right?
Short selling is like
it's another game.
It's another gamble.
Yeah.
It can happen, but these guys knew that the housing market was shit.
Okay.
They knew it was a shitty deal, as they said. So knowing that, if you short it, you're going to make some money. And they were also selling it to their clients as a good deal. So it kind of hedged their bet both ways.
Very complicated stuff, but they knew what they were doing as far as this goes, and they had a memo basically saying Timberwolf is a shitty deal. So the Senator Carl Levin was just reading the memo over and over again on TV,
and apparently they were patting each other on the back when the housing market took a shit.
Right,
like yeah, we got it, good deal. We shorted the fuck out of that one.
No, I tweeted the audio yesterday. Then some asshole is like, look. Look, the FCC doesn't control cable, so he's allowed to say...
Enough of this palaver. Let's get the show on the road.
Let's do that. The word of the day is shitty.
Yeah, apparently so.
Shitty like is the word of the day.
People like that word.
As we start the Opie and Anthony show. You like the word shitty?
Yeah, I use it a lot. That's shitty.
What do you say? Timberwolf? Timberwolf's a shitty... was a shitty deal?
That's a shitty deal. It's a shitty deal. Says it right here in the memo, in your email. It's a shitty deal. Thank God.
Well, we're obviously talking about Senator Carl Levin. He's beating the shit out of the boys from Goldman and Sachs, or Goldman Sachs?
Goldman Sachs.
Goldman Sachs. And he's reading a memo on TV yesterday. I think a lot of you saw it, saying Timberwolf was a shitty deal. I'm at the gym and I'm doing my thing, and I'm hearing shitty coming through the TV. I'm like, is he saying another word? And it sounds like shitty, because it always feels or sounds weird when you hear a curse coming from the TV
and from like politicians
in general. Now, we got two schools of thought here. Like, me and Ant were discussing this before the show a little bit, and Jimmy's got another take on it. But I think both take. Give it to me.
Well,
what is it?
Hold the phone.
What do you mean
I'll
hold the phone?
To you. I'll get it to you.
I just bought some Jim Norton.
I know, for $10 a share.
All right, give me my certificate.
So now,
give me
hold
something.
on. Let me wait a while. Oh, Jimmy Norton's stock is shitty.
Right.
Now it's only worth $5 a share. So you know what I'm going to do?
Right.
Now I'm going to buy it for $5 a share, and I go, here's your shares. Now I got $10 from you, but I'm replacing your $10 shares with $5 shares.
But you just ripped me off.
No, you got them for the price you wanted.
How long is that delay usually?
But
it could.
That makes sense. Okay, that makes sense though. So you give my stock to Ope.
Yeah.
Now, how long of a delay is there between the $10 and $5?
No, it doesn't make sense.
Hopefully, long enough for the stock to go shitty.
Wait, you're missing the point, Jimmy. The big point is
it depends on
when
when you
he's
get called
giving
on
me Norton shares for $10, he officially doesn't have any shares yet.
That's what I'm saying. You don't have any of my.
I really have the share, but I'm obligated to you,
right,
to give you those shares,
right,
at $10 a share,
right.
You have to pay me $10, and I will give you the shares,
right.
See, but so you won't be screwed. Like if you all of a sudden want to sell the shares, then I could get in trouble. I have to replace your shares,
right.
Or you could just sell them without having them either.
So what? You shitty. I go, I know that's stupid. I know that.
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of things happening here. First of all, what's the difference between cable TV and regular TV at this point?
In this day and age.
If 90% of the country has cable,
yeah.
What really is the difference?
That it's going over the air, which, by the way, it's not anymore.
Look,
I don't know anyone who has rabbit ears on their fucking TV.
I would say the same thing for satellite radio. It's stupid, the rules. It really is. You could turn on a TV and you could go to a channel and hear a senator say shitty over and over again. But if they do that on, like, over-the-air TV, is that what it's called?
Which doesn't really go over the air. Yeah.
Right. It doesn't really go over the air anymore, except for, 10 people in America that still have rabbit ears?
How to get their digital converter.
Right. But if they like let's say your local NBC station, but if they say shitty over and over again, or play the audio of this guy actually saying shitty a million times, now they're in trouble with the FCC.
Right.
That doesn't make sense.
It makes no sense.
Maybe
It's
it made
stupid.
sense at first when cable was first starting, but now it is what it is, and we all have the same way of getting our channels.
And you get this guy, a lawmaker, guy that's out there,
a curmudgeon,
yeah, and using the word shitty,
an old white guy.